Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Was able to get the crew together today so we can make a little bit of progress. So, let's dive on in. Alright, we are live. Give the word and I will relay the order to awaken the Talos. Very well, let us begin.
Word from the Exarch. All is set on his side, and we may proceed when ready.
Well, we have sufficient stone for our needs.
Likewise, preparations for the imbuing have been made according to thine exacting instructions.
Then you need only say the word.
Let us begin. See that everyone is in position. We shall catch Vorthree, mountain and all.
I feel like we could have just aimed that at the mountain and been done with it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What was the name of that rock monster in Galaxy Quest?
Rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gurgnak, I believe.
There you go. I feel like chanting that right now. Rock, 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 rock.
Indeed.
Ha ha! Yes, yes! You've not lost your touch, you clever old bugger!
The dude's stare was pretty good. Or flanking hook or whatever you want to say.
Do you see what they're doing? If its hands are damaged, it won't be able to cling to the mountain.
Oh, I knew this was a terrible idea.
Vorthree marshals the Eaters to his defense. This was only to be expected. We must try and draw as many of them down to the ground as possible. It may not be enough, but we have no other choice. Is that?
heartless thing our sapling is. Cold and cruel and heartless! Summon us in times of need, we expressly said, yet what should we find but the final battle joined without so much as a whisper of our name? Yes, we may also have said that we Fae folk have no interest in the struggles of men, but if our adorable sapling had come crying to us for help, we would of course have flown to his aid, of course we would. What are we to do with him? We are so very, very sad. You will play with us. Cheer us up again!
This I did not expect, but I will gladly accept their help. I will send word to Ystola and the others. Join them at the foot of Mount Gulg and be ready to make the ascent.
By the way, y'all may appreciate the most recent meme posted in the FF14 channel.
I saw that. It's hilarious.
I'm not sure what it means though, little son.
Remember, Yusholta told that guy because he was all interested in her?
Oh.
Everyone is here? Good. The Talos has taken hold of the mountain. As planned, we will use its body as a bridge to reach Valthri's sanctuary. The Senators will make us work for every yalm, of course. But we will carve a path through their ranks and meet with their master regardless. I went with option 1. To which I got a bunch of fist punches and some stoic nods.
Mm-hmm.
As did I for number 3. Let's all be careful.
Hmm? What was that?
He gave me a ferret.
Who gave you a ferret?
This dude, he's like, may I offer a ferret in these trying times?
That's funny.
He gave me one too. Nice.
He also gave one to me.
Nice. Oh, I love it. Our ferrets stare at each other.
The squad of ferret men. Or ferrets. Nice.
I approve.
Is mine on my head?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I love it.
I got a ponytail, see?
How exciting!
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you is not in emote thing.
No, but did you see that he found us from the stream?
Oh, did he?
That's what he said.
Yep.
Awesome.
We be famous.
That's cool.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir. He's telling everybody, I gave him those ferrets.
Yeah.
She did. Now I gotta figure out if you make it or what.
No, they were saying that it's no longer going for that much. If you got dollar signs in your eyes.
No, I'm just wondering where they came from.
Let's see. Oh, they dropped from one of the bosses in Hell's Lid. We actually tried to farm that pet for a little while.
That's right, I remember now.
So it is you.
Ah.
You will not
Well, thank you.
defile my new paradise.
Okay. Make sure you're keys are all locked.
Oh.
Well, I leveled up on my leather crafting and was moving stuff around and forgot.
Well, I popped my AoE a little late and let one of them get through, so... And I apparently tried to pick a fight with the thing that you can't pick a fight with. Alright. Rake is the tank buster. Lumen Infinitum is a frontal line AoE attached with no ground marker. Attached with no... Okay. Move away from the boss's face when he starts to cast. Cyclone Wing is a room-wide AoE. Typhoon Wing, don't stand in front of the green orbs around the boss to avoid triangular AoE attack. And further into the fight, he will add Aether Current-looking AoE puddles, as well as hit his orbs around him, dodge both. So, basically, don't stand in front of his face, and avoid the things. Now be prepared to dodge the green orbs. Ah. Okay, so that's what they mean by the green orbs.
Not too
They're
bad.
just those cones, right?
Right. Although later in the fight he will add AoEs to it. I would imagine that's after 50%.
Right there, yep.
Oh, they have a quick,
That was
quick
fast.
cast.
And apparently they can also spawn basically on top of him. That's how I just got hit by one. I didn't even see it there. Ah. Good to know.
Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
scurrying about my domain like insects. I will not suffer it!
Forgiven apathy feels like an oxymoron.
Indeed.
Come no closer, filthy creatures!
They also appear to have ran out of sins and just started going with crimes. Because that was forgiven extortion that we just killed. Alright. Sacrament of Penance is a room-wide AoE. Catechism is the tank buster. Judgment Day is 2 meteor puddles. One person will be enough to soak the damage. Exegus, the boss's face is a map of the platform, with the bottom corresponding to the front of the platform toward the boss. Stand on a square without a face.
Ah.
Okay. So I guess his face will move around. Okay. And Shiny Orbs occurs same time as Exegesis and spawns large donut AoEs on the ground. Avoid both for no damage.
Okay, just to be sure, it's as if it were to fall forward. That's how the face is like, correct?
No. Well, let's see. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So bottom is it's close. The bottom one is at the square, basically where it will fall.
Right. Assuming the faces don't move or something.
Right. Just for directional purposes. Okay. Oh, I bet it turns because there's faces on the other things.
Ah, yeah, you're probably right. It's a Rubik's Cube. Get to a square. Looks like the cardinal directions are safe. Get to a corner. Okay, that was the silliest tank buster I think I've seen in quite a while. Since maybe the POW hammer. Get to a circle. Alright, here comes the squares again.
I chose unwise.
As did I.
Wasn't quite sure where that was. We needed to do, I guess.
Yeah, there weren't very many safe spots on that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I thought I was in a safe spot, so guess not.
You might have also been in a bad square.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Where the mask? Oh yeah, oh, there I go.
Okay, I will get you in a sec.
Melissa, in a lighter spot. Go over to the right.
Okay, I died, but I got that res off. So hopefully you can get me without dying. So light spot, right?
Yeah.
Those are the donuts. I can see them now, but I'm not.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I did.
Incoming AoE damage. Get to a corner. Cardinal directions are safe.
Careful when you res, KJ, 'cause that square is
I'm alright.
not good.
AoE damage incoming.
okay, I liked it once I figured it out.
Indeed.
Ooh, I
Well,
like that.
that was the evilest Rubik's Cube I've ever fought.
I am righteousness, and righteousness will prevail. Ah, can't you do anything by yourselves?
I'm not sure how much time she's dedicated to actually playing Sage, but she has been playing Sage a little bit. Lots of aiming stuff has been dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And not a single piece of it is an upgrade, is it, KJ?
Nope. That's why I've been greeting on it, but I will need on that bow. I will transmog that bow though.
I'll have to actually look at it. And then added to their list of crimes and sins, there's a word I don't even know what it means. I've never seen venery before.
Oh.
Very well. If you will not be discouraged.
Isn't that like on the terms of like venerate? Or similar to?
Well.
Okay.
This guy doesn't mess around.
How can we tell what side he's going at? Oh,
His
raise
arm
his
goes
arm.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also seems to just alternate sides.
Yeah.
Ah. Pretty sure that's not Vol 3.
No.
Alright. Horizon Fortissimo is a room-wide AoE. Oh, they have to use musical terms that I could barely pronounce. Divine Dimnuedo is a puddle AoE around the boss. After the first time, 2 more AoE rings around the boss will occur quickly and with little time to spare to dodge. Conviction Marcato. Avoid the large yellow discs surrounding the boss, as they will cast a line AoE from each. Penance Piasmo tightens the map into a circle. Feather Marionette makes 4 copies of herself around the room. All 4 copies and the boss will cast another Divine Dinmuedo, which is the puddle AoE in the rings. One of the copies will have a ring around one of the copies will have a ring around them. Head to this copy and stay close to avoid damage. The position of the copies and boss will then change, and she will cast Conviction Marcatio again. Stay out of the line AoEs and the copies from the copies and avoid her golden disc line AoEs too. So avoid the stuff. Solitaire Ring is stand on the path of the last ring to spawn, wait for the others to go off, and then run out of the way of the last one. And Sacrament Storzando is the Tank Buster. And my chat says, when the copies show up, the last one is always going to be the one you need to walk to. The area you need to stand is right up against the closer AoE circle.
Oh, okay.
Stop them, damn you! I don't care what it takes!
Are there going to be rings this time? Oh, yeah, there was barely any time to dodge that. Move up close to the original circle, I think, is the safest spot. Incoming copies.
I didn't get out fast enough.
Yeah, I hid from that one completely wrong. At least I think I did. Okay, near the circle. And KJ, feel free to pop her whenever you have a minute.
Popped.
Incoming copies. That was the wrong spot for me.
Oh, I missed the big one.
Well, that hit really hard while being not very impressive to look at. Alright, we stand over here. Wait for the others to go off and then get out of the way.
Do you guys see that there's actually a gap in the rings a little?
A little bit, yeah. That's why I'd say stand near that circle because there's always a gap there.
I keep moving into it after the one goes off, and I was like, I think I'm out of the way, and I wouldn't have to.
Here come the copies again. Indeed.
That wasn't the girl that was helping the infected people, was it?
No, we killed her.
Oh, we already killed her. Okay.
Yeah, she was the second boss in the first dungeon, I think.
The end is near, my friends. We have found Vorthra's hiding place.
Unrepentant villains. Will you not be satisfied until you have brought disaster down upon your own heads? By your wickedness, you stand to gain naught but ceaseless Had you only entrusted fate to me, there would have been peace for all. You could have lived bliss in my eternal paradise, free from the burdens of conscience and purpose.
Peace assumes many forms, and I do not doubt that you considered yours well worth the cost. I was even prepared to believe that the end might justify the means. Ignorant as I was, I had hoped that you might mend your ways and join hands with us, that we might strive together for the happiness of all. But no more. Your actions cannot be reconciled with your words. Peace for all, you say? Yet when you were threatened, your first act was to sacrifice your own people in order to save yourself. If your paradise can be rebuilt so long as you alone survive, it exists not for the people. It exists solely for your twisted pleasure.
Hear me, Vorthri. The people won't submit to your will, for we each have our own. I made a promise to a noble soul, a woman who saw fit to entrust me with her legacy, and I mean to keep it. Everyone who stands with us has something precious, something that they cherish and would die to protect. They know their own hearts. They know what they want for this world. And by lending their strength to our cause, they have spoken. No matter how hard you may try to bend the world to your will, we will never yield!
Silence! Not another word! You presume to lecture me. Insolent worms. You will learn your place. With my true powers awakened, I will expunge you like the filth you are. Your demise will serve as a reminder to all that I am the zenith of mankind and sin eater both, chosen to rule over creation by right of transcendence. My very existence is virtuous. I am perfect, immaculate.
He seems disinclined to grant us an audience.
Find Vorthri. We will hold the Eaters here. Come! Let's finish this!
That's the first I've noticed Alpha Node has a new book.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I missed it.
Alright, we appear to be in an instanced area. But next up we have a trial. So, I will go over the mechanics. In Phase 1, there is Realm Razor, which is a moderate... Sure. A moderate party-wide damage. There's Heavenly Host, which summons 1 Forgiven Venery and 4 Forgiven Shame adds. Which I just assume we need to kill the adds as quickly as possible. Daybreak is a ground-targeted circle AoE. Okay, I'll do that in just a minute. Alright, Daybreak is a ground-targeted circle AoE below each DPS. Sin Sphere is 4 meteor AoEs. Each circle must have a player in it to soak the damage, otherwise the damage is spread to the entire party. Enthrall is used at the same time as Sin Sphere. It's a gaze attack that inflicts confusion on players hit, so we need to look away.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Do I need to start over?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I put it in chat, but
Oh, I didn't even see it. Sorry.
that's okay.
Okay, in Phase 1, we have Realm Razor, which is a moderate party-wide damage. Heavenly Host, which summons some adds. Daybreak is a ground-targeted circle AoE beneath each DPS. Sin Sphere is 4 meteor AoEs. One player will need to stand in each of them. Enthrall is a confusion gaze that is used at the same time as Sin Sphere, so you'll need to look away. Then there's Guiding Light, which is used as the second cast of Heavenly Host. Bestows Volthri's Blessing to the adds, increasing their damage. Exalted Wing is used just prior to Phase 2. It deals moderate party-wide damage every few seconds. Then there's Exalted Plumes, which is the final hit of Exalted Wings. Deals moderate party-wide damage and inflicts down for the count on the entire party as the fight moves on to Part 2. In Phase 2, he is healed to full as the phase begins. In this form, his attacks hit harder. There's Righteous Bolt, which is a tank buster. Winged Reprobation, which embeds 2 swords into the arena, which launch 3 sets of line AoEs in symmetrical patterns. Rightful Reprobation is Innocence moves to the center of the arena and sends out 8 swords as line AoEs. After the attack, the swords will linger for a few seconds before returning to Innocence as line AoEs. Getting hit by either part of the attack inflicts physical vulnerability up. Then there's Soul of the Body, which is S-shaped AoE that rotates. Move to stay ahead of the attack and stand in one of the 2 safe zones within the AoE. There's Shadow Reaver, which is high party-wide damage. Flaming Sword, which is Innocence becomes untargetable and begins building an Immaculate Authority meter. The same 5 adds will spawn again, but the Forgiven Venery will be shielded. And, see, Holy Sword, Forgiven Venery will tether to each of the Forgiven Shame adds, one at a time. If the tethered Forgiven Shame isn't killed before the cast goes off, the Shame will be sacrificed to cast Guilty Verdict, dealing moderate party-wide damage and inflicting a stack of slashing resistance down. Once the Forgiven Shames have been dealt with, Forgiven Venery will drop its shield and become targetable. And let's see, Manacle is a ground-targeted circle AoE cast by Forgiven Shame. If the Immaculate Authority meter reaches 100, Flaming Sword will wipe the party. If Forgiven Venery was allowed to sacrifice too many Shames, the stack of debuff will cause the Flaming Sword to deal lethal damage to the party, even if the meter was stopped early. Then there is God Ray, which is Innocence moves to the center of the arena and casts 3 cone attacks that hit in 3 parts: melee range and mid-range. Melee range, then mid-range, then long range. They cast 3 times in a row, with each subsequent cast hitting where the safe area was in the last cast. And then there's Light Pillar, which lines up a stack of a random player. Beatific Vision, which is a proximity-based line that Innocence will move to the edge of the arena and charges through to the other side. The closer the player is to the charge path, the more damage they will take, so you'll need to run away from that. And that is that. And the guy from my chat has offered to be our second healer for this.
Nice. Welcome.
Did you guys exit to Kaluza, or are you guys standing by the entrance?
I'm still just standing here in the instanced area.
Same.
Oh, so you haven't come out then.
Are we ready?
Sure.
Probably. I'm not gonna remember everything, unfortunately.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
It always takes seeing it to really get it.
Ready though.
I think the most important thing is going to be in phase 2 to be able to kill the ads in the right order.
And he can still hear us. Sweet.
Are you so determined to die? One last chance, villains! Bow down and acknowledge your king! Your god!
Did he get legs?
Apparently so.
Careful, I think he popped out his little baby wings.
Come! Prepare for judgment! This will be a mercy! To me, my servants! Feast upon these villains and their foul sins!
Those weren't the ones, were they?
This is phase 1.
Okay.
Fine! Fine if you refuse to die! I will strip
Somebody
you
make
of
sure
the
they're standing in each
illusion of
circle and look
will.
away.
Then you will suffer! Yes! That will be your punishment! Receive of me my blessing and rise higher! I will crush you! Suffer, suffer, suffer! Suffer and know your folly! I will strip you of the illusion of will.
Look away.
I will crush you. Damn you! Why do you not fall? Why? Why? It burns! It burns! What? What is this? The light surges within me. I see now. This is the pattern of my ascension. Very well. I shall embrace this trial. Feel my wrath! Feel my wrath! Your reckoning comes!
Alright, target whichever one is tethered and kill the shame.
I shall excite the sin of your existence!
No idea if this is gonna work, but we'll see.
Know your place! Feel my wrath! Atone with your life!
Get to the edge.
Sorry, I gave you that res, but it's gonna hit right at the wrong time. Just be careful.
Know your place!
Sweet.
Huzzah.
Wait, wasn't he supposed to start kicking his feet at that point?
I think he might be dead at this point.
Oh, he's all powerful.
Thanks for staying to get the commendation. Nobody ever stays.
And thank you for the assist. Apologies, you got blasted with that line AoE there. I was running in your direction, but didn't get there in time. Is that Valkyrie? I see. It's finally over then. Now night will return to all of Norvant, bringing salvation to both of our two worlds. Upon speaking with Ryan, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. Should you leave the area, you may return here by speaking with the sentry posted at the entrance of Mount Gulg. I would note it didn't actually give us an option to start the cutscenes when we were ready. It just said, they're going to start now.
But it is you who are the villains. Father told me that I am hope. I am righteousness. That I am a god. That is why I was born, as man and sin eater both. I kept the people safe. They respected me. Worshipped me. How can this be? I should be the one looking down at you. Help me, damn you! I am your god!
I suspect something big is about to happen.
Yeah.
Look, the sky.
Fools! Were it not for my decisive action, the whole city would have been overrun, razed to the ground. Yet they dare to complain about casualties? Spare me. I'll wager they were put up to it by those wretches who seek to usurp me. They're stirring up the citizenry. But if they think I will yield to the likes of them, they are gravely mistaken.
To be subjected to such deplorable treatment, such ingratitude. You have my sympathies, sir. You do so much good for this city, and you could do so much more were you not surrounded by fools.
Oh,
Hello,
you.
Emmett Silk.
You're supposed to be in here?
My apologies for the intrusion, but I come bearing a proposal, one that will ensure the longevity of your reign. But give me the word, sir, and I will bring hither a Light Warden. By giving its power to the babe within your lady wife's womb, we shall create a transcendent being, a king to rule over all. And as sire to the king, your authority will never again be in question.
Amazing. Before my Vorthri, they behave as docile pets. With this gift, my line shall be guaranteed power for perpetuity. We shall rule the whole world.
By all means, sir. United under Yulmor's banner, men will cease fighting and abandon their ambitions. Thus, they will grow fat and complacent, and in their sloth, seal your supremacy.
Are you all right? Say something.
12 for Fend. He cannot contain the light. He's beginning to turn. Urianger, if you've aught up your sleeve, now is the time.
It's changing back.
The combined power of every Light Warden is too terrible a burden for any one soul to bear. And so I shall relieve you of it.
Exarch, what are you doing?
I will channel this profusion of power to the Crystal Tower and use it to travel to other worlds. As I have dreamed of doing ever since I first learned of their existence. Who would choose to remain here in this dying realm when they might go elsewhere and begin anew? Not I. And thus did I use you.
Did not see that coming.
No, I don't believe you. It doesn't make sense.
Damn you! We won't let you do with him as you please.
Do not interfere! Please, I beseech you all, let him go!
You knew of this, Urianger. 'Tis all a fiction. Such vaguely defined acts of teleportation stand no chance of success. The Exarch will never live to see another world, as he knows only too well.
Then, what does he mean to do?
He means to take the light with him into the rift, where he will die. From the beginning, he intended to sacrifice himself to save our friend and Norvrend.
At journey's end, an opportunistic thief makes off with the hero's prize. A paltry way to end a chapter, I concede. Yet your tale will continue, and my role in it will scarcely be remembered. Worry not. Whatever should become of me, I will be happy and free, safe in the knowledge that I have played my part. Thank you for fighting for this world, for believing. Fare you well, my friend, my inspiration.
Hello, Emmett Selk. I'm surprised you used a gun, but...
Only those who possess the royal eye of the Allagan Imperial line are capable of controlling the Crystal Tower. Such individuals do not exist in the First. Therefore, in all likelihood, the Exarch arrived here with the tower. This much I had surmised, yet I could not discern his grand scheme. To think that he went through all this trouble for the sake of a single hero. It's almost admirable in its absurdity. Alas, it is not your grand scheme that will succeed.
You bastard!
Stay put. Your friend is still alive, but whether he remains so depends on you. What a disappointment you turned out to be. I placed my faith in you, let myself believe that you could contain the light. But look at you now, halfway to becoming a monster. You are unworthy of my patronage. I am an Ascian. My heart's sole desire is to usher in the great rejoining. 100 years ago, I entrusted my comrade Logriff with the task of increasing light's sway over this world. This we sought to do by manipulating heroes. When that failed to achieve the desired result, I created Vorthri. But thanks to your meddling, that too has ended in failure.
What was your true purpose in approaching us?
By your 12, boy, have I not told you before that everything I said was the truth? You were specimens by which I might gauge man's potential as it stands. I genuinely had an interest in you, genuinely considered taking you on as allies. Provided he could contain and control the light. If not, then he, and by extension you, would be of no use to me. 'Twas as simple as that.
So, we've been found wanting. How disheartening. But even had we fulfilled your conditions, there was no guarantee that we would cooperate. What then?
Then I simply kill you all. At the very least, it would restore the world to the way it was before you went about trouncing Light Wardens willy-nilly. Suffice it to say, it would be most inconvenient to have all that light taken away, and I would be lying if I were to claim his actions didn't have me worried. You still retain your form and your senses, but you have all but become a sin-eater. Whether you will it or no, your mere existence will serve to engulf the world in light. Those in your company will likewise turn into sin-eaters, and in time you will succumb to your base instincts and hunt innocents to feast on their sweet, sweet ether. Those few with the will left to fight may rise up against you, but before your absolute might, they will quickly know despair. There is no hope. We are finished. Mankind is finished. Ah, the irony. What Vorthri achieved through bliss, you achieved through despair. But I have overstayed my welcome. I shall look forward to seeing you bring the world to its knees, hero.
Exarch!
I have naught to show for all the time and effort I invested in you. He is a small token for my troubles. I did not expect that I could learn aught from man, but I may yet learn something from all the knowledge he had hoarded for his precious hero. I pity you, I do. Your friends are now your foes. If you do not kill them, they will kill you. When it all becomes too much to bear, seek me out at my abode in the dark depths of the Tempest. There, you may complete your descent into madness with some dignity, far from prying eyes. Till then, I bid you farewell, Eater.
I feel like bringing you back to the Crystarium was a poor decision. And he's even shinier and more solid than before.
After you collapsed, Emmet's self vanished. Then Reen did what she could to stay the raging of the light within your body. Thanks to her, you're still you, but she's only delayed the inevitable. You're not going to like what you see, but you still need to see it. It's like this all over. The whole of Norvrats is shrouded in light again. And it's because of you, and the power you absorbed from the Wardens. No one knows but your friends. When they carried you down from the mountain, they told everyone waiting below that they didn't understand why the light had returned. And now they're out there trying to allay the people's fears, while searching for a way to save you. If you're well enough to be up, you're well enough to get some fresh air. Better that than stewing in here. Go on. Go.
Thank you for the follow. Hmm. Wasn't exactly what I thought MXL's plan was, but... Well, that wasn't exactly what I thought Emmett Selk's plan was. But, Welcome back, Zora. Well, I guess we better set about saving ourselves. Oh, sir, you're awake. You were injured during their foray with on Mount Gold, yes? I was here at my station, as always, when they carried you in on a makeshift stretcher, looking disturbingly bereft of vigor. And to compound my worry, the sky has... well, I'm sure you've seen. It has everyone rather concerned, to say the least. Seeing you up and about is the first good news we've had in a while. Assuming you feel strong enough, would you mayhap consider a stroll around the city to reassure our anxious citizens? Bragi was one of those who helped convey you to your chambers, and he has visited several times since to inquire after your condition. Where'd you go, KJ?
One sec, I needed to get rid of that bow.
Ah, gotcha.
Now I can sell the rest.
I'll wait for KJ to get here. Well, well, look who's back from the dead. Aye, it was a grim sight. Your companions looked fair ready to drop when they brought you in, so I offered a helping hand. Couldn't bear to see them struggle so. And you, my friend, I feared you had one foot in the grave. Cold and lifeless you were, like a corpse that was somehow still breathing. Then they told me some evil bastard went and snatched our poor Exarch away in the midst of the chaos. Wicked white, what is this world coming to? But moaning never solved a thing, did it? Nay, it's times like these that we Crystarium folk stand tall and do what needs to be done. Trade with Eulmore is back on the table. We'd best make use of those resources to fortify the city against eaters. Or whatever misery the fates deem fit to throw at us next. Speaking of misery, Shisimile was worried sick about you. A healer wringing her hands is not a sight you ever wish to see, let me tell you. Yay, I remembered where her office is. Oh, sweetie, you're alive. No one's been allowed to see you. Even Sparegrick's surgeons were forbidden from making visits. Ryan was kind enough to tell me you were showing symptoms similar to eater corruption, so I suppose there was little any of us could have done for you in any case. As for your companions, they've been rushing hither and yon, seeking a cure to your condition. I worry to see their faces grown ever more haggard every time they pass through the Crystarium. I shall let them know you're awake, and when they come to see you, sweetie, please do convince them to rest a bit. They won't be helping anyone if they collapse of exhaustion. And our own Morin has been a little better, I'm afraid. He hasn't left the cabinet, too busy with his nose buried in one dusty tome or another.
Where's he at?
Cabinet of Curiosity.
Yep, Cabinet of Curiosity. At the very north of the city.
Yeah. I forgot there was one even there, or right to the place.
Confound it, this is the same thing as the last. Mayhap I should approach the problem from a different perspective. Is it truly you, and not some figment of my imagination? Oh, but this is wonderful. It would seem our prayers have been answered. Feeling otherwise helpless, I've been scouring our shells for wisdom to explain the most worrisome conundrum. Why, with all the Light Wardens defeated, has the light returned to obscure the sky? I must have pored over 100 tomes, but no definitive conclusion seems forthcoming. So many questions I would pose to the Exarch, and thus do I feel his absence all the more keenly. Now that you are awake, however, I am hopeful the search for our stolen steward might begin in earnest. Catalyst, meanwhile, leads the crystalline mean in preparations for battle, though against what foe we are yet uncertain. Why not pay her a visit? I expect she'll be, I suspect seeing you upright would be a much welcome relief. Opt not to teleport, Zora?
Well, I went to the Amara launch instead.
Ah. Alive and well, I see. You gave us a proper fright, you know that? Not a day's gone by that I haven't heard folk worrying what's become of you or the Exarch. Anyway, I'm glad you're recovered enough to stand. Not planning on striking out straight away, though, are you? I was hoping to have a better look at your equipment. If we'd been able to provide you with better weapons or sturdier helms, then maybe you would have won the day and the Exarch would still be here. As such, we're keeping busy consulting each other on new forging techniques and designs and the like. If you would stand still for a moment, I'd like to assess the gear we're trying to improve. Okay, this is going to be funny if the gear she gives me to improve is the set I'm wearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Ah, well, that's some fine work, I must admit. It wouldn't be impossible to make something better, but we'd need to experiment with different patterns and materials, and I'm not sure we have that kind of time. That sounds like a challenge that he would enjoy. Greetings, Glynard. The Master of the Stairs is running his own errands now, is he? Well, my servers are distraught enough as it is. I didn't want to crack the whip too hard. But never mind that. I'm thinking our absent genius and his epiphanies are the perfect answer to this predicament of ours. And by genius, you mean old Grinault? He is a man of unrivaled gifts, I won't argue with you there. But what good does his talent do us if we can't bloody find him? No one's seen hide nor hair of Grinault since he wandered off some years ago. You know what he's like once he latches onto an idea. He's probably cloistered himself in some forgotten cave, completely absorbed in his latest creation. I wouldn't even know where to start looking. That does make things difficult. Still, if that eccentric is someone you're destined to meet, I'll wager he'll show up soon enough. In my time at the bar, many's the tale I've heard told of strangely fated encounters, even if a few of them might be stretching the truth just a bit. We'll keep our noses to the grindstone for the time being. But on the off chance that you do encounter Grenault, you'd be wise to take advantage of his brilliance rather than wait on our slow and steady progress. This is all for when you're fully recovered, of course. I'll let you get back to convalescing, eh? Hey, before you do that, you're actually the reason I came over here in the first place. I don't suggest partaking in my stock until you're properly well, but if you're passing near the stairs, there's a regular who's eager to meet you. I'd best be back. Just because the world's coming apart at the seams doesn't mean we have to follow suit now, does it? Here, here. We can't forget the heart upon which the city was founded, or the Exarch might not have much of a home to return to. Are you alright? I think a return to your sickbed might be in order. Or you might consider resting a while atop the watchtower next to the rookery. This damnable sky doesn't make for the most soothing scenery. The Exarch often liked to stand there and feel the wind upon his face.
The people of this city have spirit, I'll give them that. They've not lost the will to fight. I can imagine how torn you must feel, looking at that sky. Knowing what it means to everyone. And that you're responsible. If you're thinking of coming clean, don't. It might make you feel better, but it would make things 100 times worse for them. They're better off not knowing. You're in a corner, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious way out. But that doesn't mean it's over. However hopeless it seems, you haven't lost yet. I remember looking up at the sky like this before. Being caught up in a strange kind of calm. It was after we realized we were responsible for the flood. When we resolved to journey to the source by taking our own lives. One last sacrifice. One last fight. One last failure. And then the Oracle appeared and, well, you know the rest. There were times in the years and decades that followed when I wondered if we might not have been better off just letting the rejoining happen. That we'd made one last mistake. But seeing that giant Talos stir to life cured me of any doubts I still had. Always we took the burden of fighting upon ourselves. That's what heroes do, isn't it? So we never had the chance to see anything like that. Our people coming together as one. To think that their hope still burned so bright. That they were still so eager to live, they would lift up their fellows, one on top of the other, till they reached the sky. No. We made the right decision. And I can finally feel proud of the part we played in helping this world survive. Well, come on then. As I thought. What happened between us was no coincidence. My story may be finished, but the fates have gifted me a minor role in yours. I suspected as much the moment I realized you could hear me. But it's hard not to doubt yourself when you're the man who caused the flood. I was afraid to do anything more than watch for fear of making things even worse. But no longer. After all, the path I once walked is now yours to finish. For what it's worth, I cast my lot with yours. If you need a push, I'll be right there behind you. If you lose control, I'll do my best to stop you. So, let us be about it, hero.
Oh, I was worried you were up here all alone, brooding and fretting and wallowing in your woes. But look at you, grinning at nothing like a pollen-drunk pixie. Look at what you've done to your ether. It's a mess. And you have cracks running all through that pretty soul of yours. My poor little sapling. Whatever am I to do with you? Shall I yield up my throne? You could claim it, cut ties with the mortal world, hide away in the castle. It won't fix the problem, but would it really matter? If any pesky heroes come calling with steel and magic, all of Il Meg will rise up in your defense. My crown and scepter are yours, if you want them. What? Don't give me that look! Of course I knew before I asked that you'd never ever heed such a wicked suggestion. And besides, what would become of my precious and ephemeral flower? dear beloved sapling. You are lost, confused, and have precious little time to gather your wits. Your kind is always so preoccupied with what lies ahead, and so we muddle your vision with fog and glamour. But such trickery is easy to see through. Stand very, very still. Think not of where you need to go, but where you are right now at this moment, at this time, in this place. Our cairn of crystal. From shadowed hood he watched you go, his ruby eyes with warmth aglow. See yourself as he saw you, and that shall be the clearest clue. You stand in his garden, dear sapling. Ask his flowers what they know, and you will surely find an answer. But what will you do with it, I wonder? I'll be watching and waiting. Waiting and watching.
I fell down the hole.
What hole?
Into where the trees are.
Oh, there's a hole down there?
Well, that
Yeah.
goes to the very bottom, don't it? The water.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I see right here. I will not be following you in, Emo.
That's okay. I jumped thinking it would be a wall to stop me, and no, it was not.
It let you go.
Yep.
There's an ether spot if you get close enough. There you are.
Oh, I did not expect to see you on your feet so soon. Surely you have not come in search of an Amuro. What do I know of the Crystal Exarch? I am happy to share, but I fear there will be no surprising revelations. As any in the city could tell you, he is a man of wisdom and compassion and many untold secrets. But none can doubt his generosity. When the Crystarium was being constructed, he even allowed folk to plunder the tower for resources. He has imposed no restrictions upon us but one. No one except the Exarch is permitted to dwell within the spire. Many seasons past, a comrade of mine was bold enough to ask the reason why. The Exarch merely smiled and said, because one day the Crystal Tower may vanish as suddenly as it arrived.
Are you on Cabinet Curiosity?
No. Look, the Amaro launch is probably the closest teleport to where we need to be. It's good to see you awake and alert, my friend. What's this about? You're not writing the Exarch's memoirs, are you? I'm not sure how much I can tell you, considering we avoid asking too many questions. Unspoken rule and all that. If anyone has fresh insights to share, it'd be Captain Lina, I'd say. She lost her parents to an Eater attack not long after she was born, and the Exarch saw to her upbringing. Outward appearances aside, those two are like grandfather and granddaughter. I imagine the news of his predicament hit her doubly hard. Not that our proud captain would ever let it show. If you do decide to talk to Lena, she'll be at her usual spot at the Ascensor Gate. Now I think we're going to the cabinet.
Yeah, if I can click on the right thing.
That helps. Oh, was there something else you needed? If you've come for the results of my research into the persistent light, I'm afraid there's little to tell as of yet. Okay, I love that he's acting like, you were just here 5 minutes ago, what do you need? Records pertaining to the Exarch. Well, I need no documentation to relay what little I know of his history, if that is what interests you. Less than a decade had passed since the coming of the Flood, when the Crystal Tower first flashed into existence. Its summoner, the Exarch himself, became known to the refugees in Lakeland soon thereafter. He welcomed all who sought out the spire, be they locals who had lost their homes, or Verbites who fleeing their ruined kingdom, and together did they found the city which would become the Crystarium. Some thought to call him king, or he refused to share his name, but the summoner did not deem himself worthy of royal address. Thus did the people consider his scintillating skin so like the tower he had summoned, and bestowed upon him the title of Crystal Exarch. As for his true name, well, 'twould seem that that is a mystery that has remained unsolved to this day. Now, we don't need to ask you what his name is. We know what his name is. Not that I can remember it off the top of my head, but I did say it in the quest, so.
So did I.
And I think we're going out the front gate. I don't see any markers in the city. Do y'all?
No, it's outside. Right outside.
No.
Of course, now we know why they made the Crystal Tower raid a requirement. So that any of this would make some sense. I was not told you had awoken. A welcome surprise. Now, if only the Exarch was returned to us. He was taken by this rival of yours, was he not? Your companions mentioned they had an idea of where to find him. And so I bristled when they asked for patience. I did not understand their hesitation, until I saw that you had fallen. Only then did I realize that I had no business rushing ahead. Even so, the delay has been no less agonizing. In the moments before he left to join you in Calusia, the Exarch entrusted me with a key. It opens a door in the ocular to a chamber known as the Umbilicus. This room is the heart of the tower, into which only the Exarch himself is permitted to enter. He bid me allow none into the tower once he had departed. Only in the event that an army of eaters descended upon the city was I to access the Umbilicus and awaken the defensive barrier. Never before had he left me with such instructions. But the battle with Valkyrie loomed near, and at the time I accepted the key without much thought. Since then, however, that moment is all that occupies my mind. When I recall the look upon his face, he knew that some terrible fate awaited him. Tell me, I need to know what he feared, what battle you and your companions are truly fighting. Forgive me. I trust in the Exarch, and I should not be voicing these doubts when he is not here to respond to them personally. But you have to come with me you have to come to me with a question of your own, have you not? Ah, I see I'm not the only one who burns for answers. The time has come to open the tower's heart. Though we do not face an invasion of eaters, I suspect the city will be in far more danger if you do not gain the knowledge you seek. Come, meet me in the ocular and I will unlock the door within. Yeah, I'm not going to teleport 50 feet, KJ.
I did. That's alright. Everybody's running in, and I was like, should I? Yeah, what the hell?
The captain said to expect you.
I have unlocked the door to the Umbilicus. You are free to enter. Once you have what you require, I'll see it sealed once more. Until then, I will remain without.
A moment to collect my thoughts, I prithee. Thy true name is Grahatia, then. By thy claims, thou too art a native of the Source, though from an age beyond our own, when the 8th umbral calamity hath visited devastation upon our star. Thou hast, by subtle means, reached across the boundaries of time and space to unsow the seeds of catastrophe, ere its creeping vines drag our champion unto an early grave.
In essence, yes. A difficult story to swallow, I am sure.
I doubt not the veracity of thy words, not the account of thy coming, nor that of the fated calamity. Yet my mind straineth still to apprehend the enormity of this tale. Wouldst thou favor me with a gradual unfolding of its chapters?
Certainly. But where to begin? I should start with those great minds who survived the calamity. Sid Garland being perhaps the greatest. In hopes of staying the unending tides of war, he and his fellows pursued all manner of possible solutions. One of these was rooted in a theory which unified several fundamental principles discovered over the course of the Warrior of Light's adventures. It proposed a method by which one could enter the River of Time, traverse the rift, and leap between worlds. Perfecting that idea, however, was a work which consumed their lifetimes, and thus was it left to future generations to decide whether theory would be put into practice. But all the while, the world continued to burn. Hope was a feeble outpost, beset on all sides by thievery and misery and murder. People cried out in despair. There is no hope. We are finished. Mankind is finished. Then others raised their voices in answer. Though we be beyond salvation, those who came before may yet be saved. We will forge a crossroads and pave the way for a different future. By the wisdom of our forebears, we will prevent this calamity from ever having come to pass. The fighting went on unabated, but some few took up Sid's research and labored to realize those impossible ideas. After 2 centuries of labor, their descendants finally succeeded in awakening the Crystal Tower, an integral part of the process, and, in doing so, roused its caretaker, me. By this stage, scholars had largely established the phenomena underpinning the rejoining, and identified the first as the shard which precipitated the 8th umbral calamity. This grand structure was already capable of storing the energies required to attempt the translocation. All that remained was to augment some few of its functions based upon the theoretical models of Sid and his compeers.
And by means of such technologies didst thou effect thine arrival in the first, to an age before this star had joined with the Source.
Some while before, as it turned out. 'Tis all but impossible to predict how time will flow between one world and the next, and we missed our mark by almost an entire century. But this only worked in our favor. The Sin Eaters could not be defeated without the blessing of light, and summoning the only man who might stand a chance against them would require decades of preparation.
An undertaking of scarce credible endurance. That thou hast kept thy plan from falling into disarray these many years bordereth on the miraculous.
I need to AFK for a minute, guys. I'll be right back. AFK for a minute. And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yet howsoever history be rewritten, thy present self was shaped by events which followed the calamity. Should said catastrophe be averted, the very skein of thine existence will unravel. Surely thou hast foreseen this.
I am aware of the consequences. 'Tis for that very reason Sid and his colleagues bequeathed their legacy as an offering, and not an edict. To give all of oneself for the happiness of others, and with no promise of reward. 'Tis a hard thing to ask. Harder still for those condemned to survive in a world which pitted brother against brother. Indeed, you are right to call the execution of this plan miraculous, though the force which held it together was nothing so inexplicable. It was him. The warrior of light has been our unbroken thread. Where others would stumble and fall, he would rise above. Where others would break and run, he would carry on. The Warrior of Light's tale is one of unyielding bravery. To tell it was to feel courage. To hear it was to feel hope. It was a breath of inspiration in an age of suffocating shadow. In the histories of a fallen nation was our hero hailed as its greatest ally. In the time-worn pages of a noble's memoirs were his deeds joyously retold. For many, these stories were the flame which warmed them through the coldest of nights. And so it should come as little surprise that the plan found no shortage of volunteers, concerning as it did the Warrior of Light himself. It was their chance to add their own verse to the hero's saga. He was the lodestar that brought them all together, to send their final message back through time and space to him. The light of your legacy was our torch in the darkness. Burn bright again and live. I am merely the bearer of that wish, come to ensure it is safely delivered.
Wherefore sharest thou this burden with me and no other? What wouldst thou have me say?
That you will be my accomplice? 'Twas you yourself who convinced me of your suitability when you spoke of how you learned of the Flood and of your part in arranging Minfilia's journey to the First. Your actions showed uncommon resolve. 'Twas clear you were committed to the cause of saving this world. I knew I could trust you to choose the right path forward, even if that choice came with a heavy price.
What price?
When all is said and done, and the last of the Light Wardens lies slain, I will absorb their corrupted ether, and then I will die. Knowing what I know of your companions, not to mention your champion, they will try to stop me, but in saving one, they would save none. Therefore, I implore you to aid me in concealing my identity and ensuring this tale ends as it must. To this end, I would have you take what I have told you of the Calamity and make of it a portent, a prophetic vision you beheld in the swirling chaos of the Rift.
Is this truly thy wish?
History remembered the Warrior of Light, as I knew it would, and I will suffer no other to rescue the champion whose star has charted my course. I will see this tale to a happy end, my friend. There has been enough tragedy.
Careful now. If you lose control again, the Light could claim you for good. Although it's probably only a matter of time before you succumb to the change in any case. What do you mean to do? Then we should be on our way. Dacian mentioned the Tempest, did he not? That's the stormy seas around Calusia to you. His lair must be down there somewhere, hidden beneath the waves.
Did you find the answers you sought? If there is nothing more you need, I will go in and lock the door. I'm going with option 2. The Tempest. That's the name given to the seas by which Calusia is bound. If you make a request to the Tamers, they will provide you with an amaro to fly you over the waters, but... You mean to leave right this moment? Alone? I'm not sure that... Nay, I will not seek to stop you. Go with the blessings of the Shadow, and I shall await your safe return. You require an amaro? Just a moment, I shall saddle our swiftest beast to fly you to the island. The open water? To the depths of the Tempest? Our amaro can swim, yes, but to reach the ocean floor... Just drop me, I'll handle the rest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah, we have found thee. Word reached us of thy recovery, and thus did we gather with all haste. Ah. By thy looks, I gather thou hast gleaned that which I came to tell thee.
Urianger has shared everything with us. The Exarch's true identity and purpose.
I offer no excuses. When I agreed to aid the Exarch with his plans, 'twas in full acceptance of the condemnation I would face when my duplicity was laid bare. Yet it is not rancor, but resolve that I sense in thee. Thou art fully intent upon walking thy path to its end, art thou not? If thou canst forgive my deception, or, failing that, set aside thy displeasure for a time, I do beg leave to follow thee. What strength and wisdom I possess are thine to command. I understand the precarious nature of thy condition. Nonetheless, it is my wish to remain at thy side for as long as I am able.
I'm sorry, but I don't think this is a good idea. Leaving the Crystarium, I mean, with or without Urianger. What I did for you won't last forever. There's no telling when the light will break free again. Please, you must stay here. At least for a little while longer. We will find a way to cure this, I promise you.
How can you make promises? We don't even know where to start.
Alize, please. You know Reen was only trying to help.
Of course I know! I know only too well! But making promises you have no way of keeping is not a kindness. It's a lie. Plain and simple. We've all searched high and low for an answer, and every one of us came back empty-handed. I am not about to stand in his way now. Not after failing him in his hour of need. No! The least we can do.
We will go with you as well. There is naught to be gained by standing still.
Indeed, we have exhausted every other avenue. Lead, and we shall follow. If there is any hope to be found, then we will surely find it at your side.
Are we all in agreement then?
Is there aught we can do to help?
Though we may not know the whole story, we do know you're in for a fight. And while the Exarch's away, it falls to the rest of us to see the Warrior of Darkness is given a proper send-off.
You told them?
No. Well, not in so many words.
Aye, we didn't need it spelled out for us. When the night sky appeared over whichever place you went to, it was harder not to put two and two together.
From the moment I heard that you and the Exarch shared the homeland, I had my suspicions. Long had he been waiting for a certain someone to arrive, and I knew at once that it must be you.
Exactly. When he went out to meet you, 'twas clear it was no ordinary visitor. That spring in his step spoke volumes. I could feel his excitement.
Me too! That's right!
Here, here!
We do not fully understand where you or the Exarch hail from, or why you've all done so much to protect us. But we are deeply grateful nonetheless. So, if there is anything at all we might do to aid your journey, you need only name it. What would you have of us?
You might have invited them to join us, where they're not so many. But come, they are waiting. What is your will, O Warrior of Darkness?
Alright, I feel like they should not be cheering for that line. Thou didst plan to commandeer an Amuro for thy journey to the open sea. I fear the following dive into Emmett Selk's underwater abode would drain even thy legendary stamina. Thus, during thy convalescence, we considered the most efficacious method for reaching the depths of the Tempest, and I believe we have arrived at an elegant solution. Yet ere we discuss this step, I suggest thou dost conclude with such pressing business as remains to thee in the Crystarium. Once the sea closes above our heads, we are unlikely to surface again until our grand deed is done. Thine affairs are in order, then I shall unfold to thee my proposal. Our destination is the ocean floor, yet our goal is not simply to arrive there. Nay, we must needs have the means to breathe and fight freely. Thus would I petition the aid of one of the Fae, a being with whom I have yet to meet face to face. Rather than waste words on explanation, I bid thee follow me unto the hamlet of Sullen, which lieth to the south and west. All will become abundantly clear, I promise thee.
Where'd you go?
The gates. Tessellation.
It's the Lakeland one, the bottom one.
Yeah.
There, to the west, canst thou discern the hump of an isle rising above the water? I wouldn't call it a hump, but yes. That foliage-covered mass hideth the key to our safe descent. Swim close and plunge thee beneath the surface. Thou shalt soon divine the reason of mine insistence. Though it be much to my shame, I can but flail and flounder where thou mayest glide as a fish. I shall board a boat to the island, and spare one and all the spectacle of mine inept strokes. So he can't swim. Remember the time when Alpha Node seemed overjoyed by the idea that he couldn't swim, but he didn't actually admit it.
That's funny.
We thought he came to and said, well, I'm not saying I can't swim, but I don't swim well or something like that. But no, that sounded like a whatever, he can't swim, admittance.
Though it appears solid enough, the rock yields slightly under your touch. Was the surface gently shifting, or was it just your imagination? This seems remarkably unwise, Urianshe. Two curved slabs of rock seem squeezed together here, giving the impression of giant stone eyelids. This feels like a "that's no moon" moment.
Yeah, like it's a giant, what you call it? Well, giant.
Probably a whale, if I know my Final Fantasy lore. Although it could be a dragon. Well, what hast thou discerned? Yeah, I'm gonna go with the primal comment. Option 2. Most perceptive. According to the lore of the Pixies, we are even now perched upon the back of an ancient Fey entity. Its name is Bismarck. Aye, the selfsame title by which we know the great feathered whale revered by the Vanu Vanu of the Source. I would enlist its aid to bear us into the deep, and thence banish the water within an airy sphere, alike in the form to the domes which do shelter the hamlets beneath the Ruby Sea. Within its compass we may move unencumbered, and defend ourselves when the hour of battle cometh, as it most surely shall. Now I must needs ask for silence while I make my supplication.
Wir Sach, Bilan Bismail. Fallen si lor wislan. Ada si alinal.
Van urs atslir. Olfod thim. Iri guath thi.
Oh dear. I don't need to speak Fey to know that didn't go well.
Oh, my snee yak! You've learned to call me at last! And where do you go? On a trip? A journey? I knew you wouldn't give up without a fight. Oh, my precious mortal, I shall help you in any way I can. Gers Bismail win picked. Van dromi drom yakum. Van red rithye.
Ahai una. Sahawin wisk.
Be sure to scrub this one's teeth for him upon your return. He's only got manners.
It will be done, Your Majesty. Our deepest thanks for your timely intervention.
An agreement is reached and your departure is at hand. You wingless ones best hold on tight. May the blessings of the Fae keep you safe, Inba.
And just like that, it's all gone back to the way it was.
What was you expecting? 100 years of honey and rainbows? Seeing them Yulmore types wake up and smell the ashes was miracle enough for me.
Ah, but the magic in the air when that ladder started moving. And when that great hulking Talos rose up. Gods. I could live 1,000 years and never behold anything so amazing.
What the? Do you see that?
What a monster! Where did it even come from?
Whoa there!
It's not stopping. Run! Run!
Wow.
The breath of Bismarck. See how it swells to form a dome beneath the waves? The waters recede. The tempest's floor is laid bare. In defiance of the blinding sky, this place holds fast to its gloom. The last refuge of he who denies the light with every fiber of his being. You stand at the precipice, hero. Journey unto the heart of darkness. Finish it.
Full glad am I that Bismarck was true to his word. We are arrived in the Tempest, safe and dry. It is here that we shall find the lair of Emmett Selk, and I believe the imprisoned Exarch as well. For an Ascian alone, it is of course a trifling matter to flee into the rift, yet I suspect such travel is nigh impossible with a mortal in one's custody. Nay, he would not soon risk his prize when the Exarch's very body serveth as the key to the Crystal Tower, and its powers of temporal transportation. Thus am I all but certain that this underwater realm harboureth our friend and enemy both. We have but to find them. In the event you leave the area, speak with Inuel at Venmont Yards in Calusia to return to Tempest. Now, as for where we should be looking, I rather doubt Emmett Selk will be sitting around in the open. I propose we follow the slope down towards the deeper trenches, and keep an eye out for rock formations large enough to house a stronghold. Let's be off then, but watch your footing. The ground is still wet, and like to be slippery. Oh, we have more ether currents.
Nice of these guys to wait for us here.
Indeed. Urianger is really interested in that rock.
That's pretty, the creature.
Mm-hmm.
The swallow.
Yeah.
And now we seem to have found the Norvant Sahagan.
Ooh, their ether crystals. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The Fitness Ones! They followed me. Why have you come? Was it you who took away our water? Ah, so this is where the Ondo make their home. I had wondered. Pray forgive us any inconvenience we have caused. We were not aware your people lived here in the Tempest. We need this great dome of air that we might conduct a most urgent search, and thus beg you for your understanding. Chieftain, what are we to do? Are you emissaries of the Ancient Ones? The mysteries have stirred. We have seen the illuminated land shining through the gloom of the abyss. If you are the emissaries, the chosen, I bid you welcome. If you are not, I bid you leave. I am not sure I understand. Would you be willing to elaborate? It would seem not. I suggest we withdraw for the moment. This feels like a Ghostbusters moment. When the all-powerful astral entity asks if you're a god, you say yes! So what's the plan? Given your condition, I'm reluctant to suggest lingering here. That said, our present meandering search would proceed far more swiftly if we could call upon the Ondo's local knowledge. Yes, I'd like to know more about this illuminated land the chieftain spoke of. Could it be Emmett's stronghold, do you suppose? Perhaps he lit the lanterns upon his return? We cannot dismiss the possibility, but if these Ondo refuse to speak to us... Do you remember my first scheme for entering Yulmore? How I had planned to ingratiate myself by offering lucrative trading opportunities with the Ondo. The individual I dealt with was reticent in manner and curious in custom, but we were able to reach an agreement nonetheless. I believe that with the right approach, we can build a similar relationship here. What kind of approach did you have in mind? The chieftain fellow didn't leave us many options. If we are to tread the swiftest course, then we must needs locate the beginning. It is plain our all too dramatic arrival hath thrown this settlement into confusion. Were we to solve such problems as we have caused, and assure our hosts thereby that our purpose here is not amicable to them, that they may yet prove amenable to reason. I smell chores. But very well. If it can be done quickly. What do you think? I have nothing better to offer, but I do worry that what will happen if the Ondo's tales end up leading us to a dead end. I cannot say for certain, but I sense this tribe has a deeper connection to the Ascians than first meets the eye. It warrants further investigation. Thus I cast my vote in favor of aiding the settlement for the time being. Went with option 2. Because doing chores is what we do best. Then it is settled. Istola, pray proceed with your investigations. The rest of us will see about fostering some goodwill. You won't believe who I've just bumped into. This is Cautious Owen, the very fellow I did business with prior to our ill-fated stay in Yulmore. I waited, and you did not come. Then the Mistel came, but his visits did not continue. I am truly sorry, Pachasone. Things did not proceed as planned. Is there aught we might do for you by way of apology? Perhaps. Where the dry return, a cave to the north is home to giant crabs. We do not fear the crab, for we are swifter swimmers. But now that there is no water, we run, and they scuttle close behind, snipping and snapping with their claws. There are too many of them. Too many. I believe I could be of assistance there. And what of you? If you've not found a task, you are most welcome to join me. Indeed, I should appreciate the company. Where the dry return has a rather ominous ring to it. Trying to find the way out of here. I see the mark on my map, but I didn't see an entrance to a cave over there. So we'll just go this way. I do like that they made the village traversable, but barely.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, KJ, back to town. You could crack their shells? You must be stronger than you look. I see you've reached your quota first again. I shall never be your equal in such tasks. Still, I would say we have reduced the total crab population to a far less threatening number. My thanks to both of you. You must have a reward. Nay, Pachasone. This was just part of our apology to you, remember? Besides which, the lack of water is our doing, for which we must also make amends. Might I convince you to tell us something about your village instead? I would very much like to learn more of you and your people. Very well. Before the flood came, it is said that our ancestral home was found in the seas to the south. It was utterly destroyed by the light. Only those who were out hunting survived. They swam, aimlessly and lost, until they spied buildings here on the ocean floor. Strange buildings they were, and long had they stood under the water. Yet somehow they had been spared the scars of time and current. These structures provided shelter for my people, protection from the tempest's turbulent waters and the predators which hunted them with them. Their very existence seemed a miracle. The first settlers pondered their good fortune. It was clear that the race who had built such wonders had guided their course, and for this did they discern the truth. That the ancients had chosen us to serve as caretakers of their eternal sanctuary, until such time as they returned. Thus, if it is judged that your coming, and this great vanishing of water, was by the ancients' design, you will find warm welcome here. A truly astonishing history, yet I cannot help but wonder, how will the significance, or otherwise, of our arrival be decided? The ancients have blessed us with protection and prosperity. If your presence serves to bring us the same, there will be no doubt in the matter. It would seem our earlier decision was the correct one. We thank you for the lesson, Pasha's Own, and we continue to do all we can to assist you and your people. Should you desire our help with any other trouble, pray do not hesitate to ask. We should return to the task at hand. Only do try not to overexert yourself, my friend. The risk far outweighs the gain. Ah, have you learned aught of note? Fascinating, and precisely the sort of information I was hoping to hear. In fact, if you have a moment, I would like to borrow your eyes to confirm a theory I've been working on. Come. Hail, Finless One, and welcome to the Cups. Long have I wanted to converse with one of your kind. I am called Narash Cole. How may I address you? Curious. Before we speak at length, there is something I would show to you. Let us leave behind the cups and head due west. Come. These are relics of your kind, yes? The leavings of a ship that sailed the seas above long, long ago. They lie as they fell, untouched by any Ondo, for most have little interest in the affairs of the Finless. I, however, do. Ever since I was saved by one of yours, after being washed ashore, weary and near death. Such kindness is a rare and wonderful thing, and I would know more of the people who showed it to me. And so I ask you to teach me of your ways. These objects, for example, what purpose do they serve? How are they to be used? Narashkol gestures to nearby debris, entreating you to inspect them closely and offer up a detailed explanation. I now have the scene from Little Mermaid in my head. Among the debris, you spy what appears to be the remnants of several shattered bottles of wine. Such fragile containers they were. I suspect they once contained something of great value. What can you tell me of their purpose? I'm going to tell you what they actually are, but I like that they have the option of using a bottle as a weapon. Fragrant liquids which clouded the mind. I have heard of these before. Do fitness ones so delight in dulling their wits? Among the debris, you spy what appears to be a rotting ship's wheel. That was carved from the wood of one of your many trees, yes? What purpose does this particular contraption serve? Oh lord, I like these options too.
Yep.
I'll tell him what it's actually for. Ah, the vessels of your kind uses to traverse our waters. Then, without a wheel, it is at the mercy of the wind and the currents. I see.
But I really want to see him or another one of them wearing it on his head.
Indeed. Thank you. In our short time together, you have already taught me so much. A pity that none of these pearls of wisdom serve my needs. Narash, what are you thinking wandering off on your own with this finless one? This is no time for you to fiddle with their leavings. The Clutch Mother is in terrible distress. No, you do not understand. I brought him here to... Pray forgive this child his impudence. I am Zerosh Own, and on behalf of the Clutch Mother, I come to entreat your assistance. It seems you do not realize that in driving back the waters of the Tempest, you have placed our beloved Clutch Mother, leader of the Ondo, in mortal peril. She is pregnant. Here in the depths, she will give birth to many, many eggs. We male Ondo will then take them into our care and raise them as our own. But absent the flowing waters, we know not if she will be able to deliver them safely. If not, the future of our people will be in jeopardy. The flood of light claimed many Ondo lives. Though we have rebuilt our numbers somewhat in the decades since, it would be devastating to lose an entire generation. Or worse, the Clutch Mother herself. She wishes to speak with you directly, that we might together find a solution to this dilemma. Will you return with me to the Cups? Narash, come. I will not let you trouble our guest or the Clutch Mother further. Everything I have done for her. Everything I have done for her. According to the compass, there is a aether current right here. I managed to get it down to 0. I'm standing on the spot it says it must be. There must be a way to get underneath us. I guess we'll have to come back to this. I actually think I see a spot where the ground turns down, but that requires going back to the town, so we'll continue up here to do the quest first. Now, there are 2 tasks I would have you perform. The first requires you to inspect the buildings which surround the Ondo settlement, and note their most distinctive characteristics. For the second, I wish you to use this knife to take scrapings from one of the remnant walls. Pray be as thorough as you can. I shall be waiting here for the results of your investigations. Inspect the structures of the Ondo cups for distinctive features. You may move the camera, zoom in and zoom out, etc., etc. I found a decorative window. The tall, slender towers feature many elaborate windows, the likes of which you have seen nowhere else. You set the point of the knife against the wall, but even after applying considerable pressure, you cannot remove so much as a flake of stone. What have you discovered? Yes, I would agree that the windows are most distinctive. It would seem the structures appear to be the same to both your sight and mine. And you say you cannot so much as scratch the wall, even with all of your might behind the blade. Everywhere I turn in this place, my gaze is drawn by peculiar materials for which I do not have a name. The buildings I had you investigate are prime examples. They may appear to be constructed of ordinary stone, but I assure you it is nothing of the sort. If pressed, I would describe the substance as a composite of several mineral materials, blended to create a material of unparalleled durability. Even the Ronkan Empire, once the greatest power of Norvant, produced nothing which compares to this level of perfection. But if not the Ronkans, then who? Who were these ancients the Ondo claim as the architects of their sanctuary? I suspect our answer lies with the reason M itself withdrew here to the Tempest. He may simply have wished to retreat somewhere where mortals would struggle to reach, but there are many such remote locations. Why here specifically? Emmett Selk is devoted to his role, and thus we might assume his choice of strongholds somehow serves the Ascian agenda. Or mayhap, is a place more dear to him than any other. I went with option 1. That is my theory, that these structures are remnants of a time before history, of a star that was yet whole and unbroken. Such traces in the source would have been obliterated by the succession of umbral calamities, but here in the first, they may have remained untouched for millennia. A copy of the mural in the Katana Revel. Almet presented it to me during my visit to Fanau after our victory in Calusia. Here in the first scene, by Emmett Selk's own words, it depicts a city of eons past and the disaster which befell it. The design is much simplified, of course, but do you see the similarities between its towers and those you have just inspected? We are close to the truth, I feel. Let us search the surrounds for another tower, one which matches the picture near enough to remove all doubt. From what I have seen, not more than sand and more sand lies to the east and to the south, and the south held no such structures. I suggest we try our luck further to the northwest. The quest destination will not be displayed on the map. You must search for a structure which resembles the buildings in the mural, then inspect it from the survey point. The survey point will be found nearby, in a location which allows a full view of the structure. To the northwest, he said. I feel like we've gone further than we should have. I mostly just wish I could zoom out further.
Right. I'm wondering if we can get on top of those rocks over there to the right, though. But we might be too far. I can't see the buildings.
Well, it's also where we picked up the quest. And maybe we do have to go pretty far over here.
I think we need to go a little more west. We've been primarily north.
Yeah, sharp left, actually, yeah.
I have switched into first-person mode, which I think is making me drive in all kinds of crazy directions. Well, there's something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And an aether
an
current.
aether, right? Yeah. I hate it when I move away too fast.
I understand entirely. Aye, this is the mural writ large. Though I cannot guess at its purpose, it must have been an imposing sight. How much of the tower's height lies hidden beneath the ground, I wonder? Centuries of our history have settled upon such ruins. Countless layers of dust and sediment. An entire civilization, its existence forgotten by all except for a handful of Ascians. And yet it did exist. They lived here, in this city. But let us focus on what we've learned so far. The Ondo chieftain spoke of mysteries stirring and of a land illuminated. Judging by his words, he believes this phenomenon related to the ancients' return. Thus, can we surmise that what the Ondo saw shining in the abyss was in all likelihood yet another remnant of this age-old civilization. And who else would light the lanterns, as Ryan put it, than Emmet Selk himself? It's almost certain he is here. But if we are to find this stronghold in a timely manner, it seems gaining the Ondo's trust remains our swiftest path forward. I only hope our deeds are enough to win them over. Thank you for assisting me with my investigations. I shall seek out our companions and share what we have learned. Much as I would like to tell you to sit down and leave the rest to us, your condition demands that we make all reasonable haste. If you are not too weary, it may be useful to speak with Pashasone again, and ask if there is aught else he is willing to divulge. Alright, back to town, KJ.
Well, there's an ether on the.
Hmm.
Well, there was an ether on the way down southeast from that location.
Ah. Well, we'll probably have to go down there later. So. I'm running over here toward the Aether Current quest first. Beyond this gate resides the Clutch Mother. Approach and hearken to her words. Honored guest, I am Clutch Mother of the Ondo. I, Clutch Mother of the Ondo, do bid you welcome to our realm. You will forgive me for receiving you in this fashion. For the safety and well-being of my children unborn, I must remain within, away from the dangers without. As you know, under normal circumstances, this place would be filled with blessed water, from which I would draw strength and support to bring these eggs into the world. Alas, I am but half submerged now, and I fear for my ability to fulfill my sacred duty. I am given to understand you and yours are the ones responsible for drawing back the waters of our realm. With good reason, I am sure. However, it is my sincere hope that you would agree to aid us, given that you are responsible for this state of affairs. Fear not, I desire no direct assistance. Rather, I would beg a boon of your people's knowledge, of childbirth and how the finless ones ease the burdens of their struggling mothers. Gerozone will be my agent in this matter. Heed his words and answer his questions. This is all that I ask. Do you consent? I thank you, honored guest. Go well. Then it is agreed. However, I must consult with her attendants before we speak further. For now, I bid you and Narash Cole go about your business, but be ready if called upon. Wait! Have you a moment to converse in private? Outside of the cups, please. Okay, now we'll go do the the MSQ. Ah, Alpha Node's friend. You and your companions have done much to repair the damage caused when the waters parted. Anything else you can do? Have you been to the walls of the Forgotten? Went with option 1. The remnants to the northwest? Yes. You visited them unbidden? Could it be that your footsteps were guided by the ancients? I believe it may be so. Listen then, and I will tell you of our plans to bring light to the walls, that we may answer the shining call of the illuminated land. We have requested a finless craftsman to shape for us a sacred lamp. He is odd for a land dweller, choosing as he does to live in the ocean, but his skill is beyond question. It is concerning, however, that we have heard nothing of his progress. If you were to visit this artisan and return with our long-awaited light, then any doubts of your purpose would be laid to rest. His name is Grinault, and you will find his workshop in a metal structure to the south.
Of course.
Also, isn't Grinault the name of the blacksmith?
Yes, the one that's missing.
But no, I'm talking about back in, back on the source.
I think so, yeah.
The guy who makes the legendary weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, we'll see if we can finish this Aether Current quest and then probably call it for the day. It's a rare thing indeed to be granted an audience with the Clutch Mother. I hope this serves to help you understand how important these eggs are to us. Before you came to the Cups, I had been searching for a means to assist her in giving birth. That is why I have been studying the relics of your people. Unfortunately, I found nothing that seemed suitable for this purpose. I cannot stress to you enough how important she is to us. She is mother to all Ondo, and her every egg brother and sister. We would do anything and everything to welcome them into this world, and see them grow into healthy, happy Ondo. There must be some way in which you can help us achieve this end. And we have an Aether Current. Alright, that's probably a good place to stop.
Okay.
And checking to see where the quest actually sent. Okay, this quest sends us off to the south to a place called the Workbench. Okay. But yeah, I think this is probably a good place to call it. So give me just a second, I'll wind down the stream. Alright guys, I believe that is where we are going to call it for today. And next time, which I'm not sure if that's going to be tomorrow, next week, or beyond that, but we might be finishing base Shadowbringers soon. There aren't that many quests left. So, until then guys, we're getting somewhere. And I will be back definitely on Friday with more Final Fantasy VII. Until then, I want to thank y'all for joining me. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good night.